let's get started. So the live streaming works now for my account. Okay, so today we have 3 topics. This first one is about the notation V1.1 release. As you know that according to our plan, November 15th is actually the date for code freezing. But based on the current status, it's not possible. So we need to have a discussion around the major features for V1.1. The second one is Fabian will talk about the project adoptions. The third one is actually the topics I asked in previous 2 committee meetings to collect some topics for the notary project retrospective meeting. In this meeting, we will check the project health, walk through the current adoption status and also maintenance status. And also the plan is also to discuss some long-term investments. And last time Samuel mentioned that he thinks the time would be good in December. So I have 2 proposals. So hopefully today we can decide what is the timeline so that we can well prepared for this meeting. Okay. Let me check whether Rakesh joined. Okay, Rakesh joined. Samuel also joined.
Yeah, I have a small topic to discuss. One of the comments on my PR about customer experience with arbitrary blob signing. I think it is just a comment that I want Shiva to look into and provide comments. I'm not sure if you want to add that to the agenda. In this PR.
Yeah, maybe we can discuss it a bit during we walk through the status of 1.1. Is that okay?
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah, so based on our plan that for V1.1, we have several features we planned. The first one is the sign attribute data. The second one is plugin management. And we also plan to have the trust store and the trust policy experience improved. And so based on current status, I'm not sure whether Rakesh or Samuel joined. That I also explained that our original plan is November 15th is our code freezing date. But currently, we don't have any feature ready for that. So one purpose for discussing this topic is that we need to reconsider our release timeline for 1.1. Another thing is we also need to think about the scope of 1.1. One of the reasons is that recently we received several comments about the error messages during configuration or during sign or verification. And previously, we have this trust store or trust policy experience improvements planned for 1.1, but we think the error message improvements is more important. We did some small improvements in 1.0.1, which is to improve the error message when user didn't set up this reference for the commands correctly. But we think that we needed to systematically to solve this problem by provide a general guideline. And as we know that we have ongoing features, right? The ongoing features will also produce some output messages, including error messages. So we think that we may need a guideline so that the new features can follow the guideline to print out the error messages. Otherwise, later we also need to fix or improve the error messages for both the new features and also the existing features. Okay, so let's first check the ongoing features, the sign up data. Currently, we have two PRs related to specification. One is on the notary project specification repo, another is on the notation repo. Let's see whether any blocking issues or blocking comments on these two PRs. And then we can estimate when we can start creating PRs for implementation. That okay?
Yeah. So for the second one, specification PR, there are no blocking comments. I just raised another revision on that.
Okay.
If folks can review that, that would be great. But for the first one, there is a comment thread going on about how notation is going to handle um, blob signatures when the signature files are already existing on the file system. There are a few proposals, and if everyone agrees to the proposal, then I can make appropriate changes and raise a new revision.
I think it's related to these comments, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And we also agree that, sorry, Samuel, do you want to say something?
I didn't do it. I'm sorry. This was.
Okay, let's continue first. So we agree that we will control, I mean, the notation will control the signature name, right? So user don't need to specify the name. And we also agree that by default, the signature will be generated on the same folder as the blob files, right?
Yep.
And if user want to have a different directory, they can use a new flag, right? Let me find.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, then this is the second thing. And if users want to, I mean, produce more signatures, for example, they sign the blob for the second time. So this is Rakesh, you want to discuss, right? Whether we overwrite it or just return error.
Yeah. Look, so I had a chat with Pritesh on this. Looks like notation is already asking users to confirm few things. For example, certificate deletion, right? When a user runs a command, notation certificate delete, notation is already confirming the user decision. So I think it's okay to have confirmations, but there should be a flag for skipping those confirmations, right? I think the last comment that Pritesh wrote here, I'm okay with that approach since notation is already doing it. If there are any concerns from Microsoft side, we can try to address them.
So basically, by default, we can ask a confirmation from user whether they want to produce another signature, right? And with the flag introduced, it will be friendly for the scripting, right? So
Yes.
can skip in any confirmation prompt.
Yeah.
Yeah, just now, Rakesh, you mentioned an example, delete. I didn't remember clearly. What is this delete command?
That is a notation certificate.
Okay, certificate delete. Okay.
Yeah.
That command we have do we have a flag to allow user to delete?
Yes.
It's minus force, right?
I
Patrick, are you online? Do you remember
I think it
that?
is hyphen yes. That is
Have a
the
yes. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a good proposal. Just the flag name we need to align with other commands. I'm not sure whether override is a good name.
So I think for certificate delete command, right? The intent is pretty clear from the user that they are trying to delete a certificate, and hyphen yes makes sense there because they're skipping the confirmation there. But for uh, notation blob sign command, right? And for this command, the confirmation is not about signing, but for overwriting the signature file on the file system, right? So I think we need to be a bit explicit here. That's why I think overwrite option is better than hyphen yes, for example.
Mm. Yeah, any comments from other participants? We also have a hyphen force, right? For example, for class policy, if we want to overwrite the existing one is hyphen force, right? Maybe Patrick can help. I didn't remember it clearly. Okay, Shui has one comment about general CLI experience guideline.
Yeah, I think if we are already using force flag somewhere else, I think, yeah, it makes sense to be consistent.
Comments from other participants. I think hyphen force and hyphen yes is commonly used in other toolings. So, any comments from other participants?
I think these two flags are also aligned with notation cert and notation key management commands, right? We have hyphen force and hyphen yes for confirming the deletion behavior for certificate and signing keys. I think the general purpose is to align with other notation commands, so there's no different style of the designing principles.
Yeah, I think I like the force flag because with yes, it is not super clear, right? What users are saying yes to. I think force makes sense if we are already using it.
Yeah, Pritesh also
I
share
think we
this.
have similar pattern for plugin. Yes, there's like force the installation, say, force the override.
Yeah, force for plugin and the force for when we use import to use this to overwrite. Okay. So I think this is also we can document for our general CLI experience guideline as Shirley suggests. So currently we use force across different commands for overwriting something. Okay, I think Shirley also look good to me. If no other comments, I think we can. Sorry, is this the commands? No, this one. I mean, if no other comments, we can go forward with hyperforce flag.
Okay, sounds good. Is there any place where we document these general guidelines for CLI experience? I can
I
write a
think
paragraph there.
yeah. If you yeah, we don't have that yet. So if you want to contribute for that guide to create a first version, it will be very helpful.
Okay. All right.
It's
If
a new
I'll write,
document. Yeah.
okay, I will see if I can spare some cycles. Thanks.
Yeah, at least we can create a issue for tracking it, and I think it's general guidelines. I think we can all contribute to that guide. We can just have a very first version, then we can contribute. And speaking of this PR, so we will continue use have force for overwriting. So any other issue, Rakesh, you see you want to discuss or any comments from other people, even though I think once the Rakesh updates this PR, we can start review and merge it. Then we can start implementation.
I do not have any other comments to discuss here.
Yeah. So any comments from other people? So even though basically we are aligned with the current proposal for the CLI spec. Okay, then we are back to our timeline. So could you, Rakesh, give ETA date? Because as I said, actually tomorrow, the Wednesday, November 15th is our original code freezing time, right? So we need to have a new time.
Yeah. So the engineer who is supposed to work on the implementation work is out of the office at the moment. Let me get back to you on this and when we can change the dates to.
Sorry, who you just mentioned? I didn't hear it clearly. Who
There is
will
another engineer who is going to work on the implementation. His name is Rishabh. He's
Rishabh?
yeah, he's out of the office at the moment, so I need to know when he's going to be back and then work on the implementation.
Okay. When will you be able to provide the time? This week, sometime this week?
Yes. I think we have a meeting on Thursday, right? I should be able to provide ECD on that date.
Okay. Okay. Yes, this for the sign up to the data feature. Any other things we want to discuss around this? If no, we continue to the next one. Plugin management. Feynman, do you want to talk a bit? Anything blocking you want to discuss? We have a Pridesh, Rakesh, and Samuel online.
Yeah, I think we have maybe one or two questions which are not finalized yet. Would you mind me share my screen? Since I may need to change to the preview mode and point to specific line.
Okay. I'm stopping sharing.
Thanks.
Yes, I can see it now.
So which screen are you seeing?
It's the PR.
Okay, that's right. So I think we still have one or two questions raised from Pritesh, which are not confirmed yet. So I would like to leverage this meeting to confirm with Pritesh. I think the major point here is about the major question here is about what are the ideal behavior of the upgrade operation. So Pritesh, I saw you have a question left here, and is mainly asked for how will the upgrade commands differs from the installation plugin install command, right? So I think the simple answer is that um, we would like to expect upgrade the plugin without specifying the plugin URL. Currently, we require the users to input the URL like they installed the plugin. But after discussion with Patrick, with Shui and Yi, we find that it is also feasible that we may enable users to upgrade the plugin without specifying the installation source. For example, if users want to install the plugins from GitHub release page or from the OCI registry, they have tags. They have tags and they have tags in GitHub repositories, and also in the OCI registry, they also have tags which are available to retrieve from the GitHub repository or from the OCI registry. So I think another different point is that for notation plugin upgrade, for notation plugin install, it will only check the plugin existence instead of checking the version. So the current design and behavior are described at this line, and I also added a short description here. So I think that we are targeting to simplifying the upgrade experience and enable users no longer need to provide the plugin source or the plugin installation source for upgrading a plugin. But for some cases, like if users want to upgrade from a local file or upgrade from a remote object storage, they don't have version control mechanism, right? In that case, we will need users to provide the address of the plugin installation file.
A couple of comments there. So we do have version control mechanism because by default, we expect plugin to emit its version when we call metadata command. So when I call plugin metadata, it will emit its version.
You
It should
mean,
emit.
do you mean
Yes,
this metadata, right?
the version, yeah. So it contains the version there. So we do know what plugin version is that. Second thing, automatically, I didn't like the idea of like how will we automatically figure out the GitHub thing and update that? How will discovery work there? I'm just curious there. Like you did said that okay, if the artifacts are on release page of GitHub, we will support automatic. Like we will user don't need to specify URL. How will we do that?
I think for GitHub release, right, you can retrieve which tags are available to download. And for OCI registry, if you have an image stored in a repository, you can also get the tags as the versions you want to upgrade. So I think by default, if users don't specify the source, the address of the installation file, I think by default, we can allow users to upgrade to the latest version. And user can also specify which tag or which version they want to install from a GitHub release or OCI registry.
But how will we figure out the URL from the plugin, from the binary already installed?
Yeah, I think keeping track of where the source is kind of important. It's almost like an apt repository in some way, right? So do we have a definition of where it came from when it was initially installed or no?
I think when users initially install a plugin, we can record its installation address or installation source in the plugin metadata, such as the spec described. So they will record how the plugin files, the installation files come from in a URL. So when users upgrade a plugin, notation will know where the plugin files come from.
Okay, so you're going to use the URL to determine that, hey, this is of a specific type and firmware upgrade or something like that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's correct. So we will leverage the plugin metadata as this spec describes to record the location of the plugin file. I think the plugin installation file and the location will be recorded in the plugin metadata. So when users upgrade it, notation will know where to download or where to download and upgrade the plugin. We have a URL field here.
That doesn't make sense for this. I think I get it, but I don't know until it actually gets implemented.
Yeah. This URL is for documentation. If you want, we will have to do something like how does Grease Monkey scripts have it? You'll have to add a new tag called update URL or something like that and update this spec, and it has to go like that.
Yeah, that's what. So if that URL is not the binary installation location or like in an apps repository, you have a source, right? So if it's not the source URL, then we probably need another field in there as well. Otherwise, the upgrade path won't work.
Okay, I got you. I think if this URL is not what we expect, I think we may need to propose or add a new field like plugin source or plugin address, something like that, along with this URL or after this URL.
Yep, that's correct. Also, like until we figure this out, can we just support this via install script? Like how does Homebrew does it? If install anything, if you call brew install, that's a notation. If it's not there, it will install. It will do a new fresh installation. If a notation already exists, it will by default perform an upgrade. It's like it's an interim solution unless you want to go full-fledged solution here. That okay, we want to we want to support update. For update, we need to support a new field and we do bunch of stuff. If we want to go other way, also it works.
As long as we the point is once we ship the behavior of install will not upgrade, then we should I just think we should just keep that in mind. Just because if you go down the fact that install is going to auto upgrade at some point in time, then we might as well implement it right now. But I get the appeal of not having two commands. So Pritesh, you're of the opinion that we can do this with one command, right?
Yes. And if required, we can add a new command in future, which will just act as an alias there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good enough experience where installing and uninstalling a plugin is not a very regular operation, but if they do it, then it's only one command they need to worry about.
Also, in this way, you don't have to update the spec right now. Like for example, download URL, upgrade URL. You don't need to update the spec because we are piggybacking on the same command, so we can ask user to provide the URL every time.
I see. But if you wanted to, oh, but that would mean that something like a quick upgrade could not work unless they specify the URL, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Whereas the idea is the proposal here is to not remember that URL every time.
Yes, for that, like if you're enrolling for that many work, like it's a more work than supporting this change. So if you're enrolling for more work, I'm all in for that. But yes, if you
as long as I'm not doing it, I get it.
yeah,
No, I think the question is, yeah, this is more like a Shuey question. Okay, Shuey says he has a concern for auto upgrade.
Yeah, I have seen Shui and Samir as two comments in the chat box.
URL squatting, typo squatting, DNS hijacking, so many issues. Okay, fine. We're going down that rabbit hole.
Pritesh, are you proposing unify the install command and also the upgrade command into only one command, like use the notation plugin install to cover both install and upgrade?
so I would say let's split two things. Let's not combine upgrade with install and uninstall. And so for upgrade, we want to do auto discovery and things like that. And it has a lot of issues. We already talked about them. So we can just separate that out. Right now, we can only have two commands. Let's call install and uninstall. For example, plugin install, if they specify the URL, if it's an upgrade, do an upgrade. If it's not, do a fresh install, because that will be the intent of the user, right? For example, if I already have a plugin installed on my machine and I do notation install a URL, probably if a newer version is there, I want to upgrade it. If it's not there, then I do a fresh install. And then as a separate issue, we can tackle the upgrade problem. How do we want to solve the discovery problem and all the security issues associated with it?
So you are suggesting that we can split the plugin management experience into two phases. First phase is to include the notation plugin install and uninstall, and the upgrade would be the next iteration. And we should consider a solid experience for the upgrade, and especially for auto upgrade, right?
So I'm suggesting I'm suggesting this, like let's do plugin install URL. If it's an upgrade, automatically transparently do it for them. It's a downgrade, fail it, and have a flag to support it. That's how Brew does it. So if you do Brew install notation, if there's an upgrade, Brew automatically goes and install the updated one because user is asking for that, right? User is already providing an intent. I don't know what is there on my host, do a new install.
I think Homebrew is a little bit different from the notation plugin management mechanism, since Homebrew has a central software repository, and all of those softwares are in a single Homebrew core repository, so users will not need to.
Yes, but here we are taking the URL, right? So functionality-wise, it's somewhat equivalent because user is passing the URL for install command. So we are always taking a URL from user. If plugin is not present, do the installation, fresh install. If plugin is already present, verify that and do automatic upgrade for plugin. So it serves both the scenarios where you want to upgrade and you want to do a fresh install without having a need for URL discovery, where it was the download URL and things like that. And then as a second iteration, we can solve that problem of upgrade. Does it make sense? So in that way, user has both the, like user is having the option with install command itself.
Raymond, do you have any concern?
Yeah, I'm thinking about if we have only one install command to cover all operations like upgrade. I'm thinking, is there any security concerns for users?
Yeah. So I
And-
think let's see if we can unify it. I mean, it's always easier if there is less parameters from the user and less options that the user has to type. So overall, I think it's good. And what I'm understanding is that auto upgrade is our default behavior. Like if it gets a newer version, it just upgrades it from the URL. And that's a reasonable expectation. Pritesh, I have a question for you. Do you want to take a version parameter that ensures that somebody doesn't, if the version that we're getting from upstream is not what we want?
So, I mean, we can do that as an optional parameter, but yes, I mean, for upgrade perspective, just for upgrade, CLI itself has the version. So like we have standardized that. That's metadata command of, if you call metadata command on CLI, it will emit the version of the CLI.
I'm talking about version of the plugin.
Yeah, we can add as an optional parameter. If someone logs to download a particular version, then yes.
I mean, again, this doesn't have to be right now because these are all additive, right? I think for V1, we can just go with auto upgrade. It makes it simple. If you rerun the command, you'll get the latest always. So that's also keeps it. You don't have to worry about inconsistency in some ways. I mean, I think it seems reasonable. Payment, maybe if you feel like there's any strong reason to not unify, then we can add comments on the thing.
Yeah. Any thoughts or suggestions from Shui, Yi, and Patrick about the install and upgrade experience?
For me, I think we could do like Pradesh suggested for the auto upgrade. We need to have some specification changes, right? And also there are some security concern we mentioned in the chat. So I think that part we can figure out later. But for the first iteration in 1.1, we can as Pradesh explained, we can introduce two commands, install, uninstall. And I remember Pradesh also has a comment describe this behavior, right? In the PR. So I think if we agree that experience, we can do it for 1.1 first, and later figure out these upgrade scenarios.
So I have a question. So currently we have installed haven't forced, right? So if we have another flag called upgrade, when both of them are set, and the version is not, is actually the user the plugin that user want to install, that version is actually lower than the existing version, but the force flag is set. Shall we still install it or give an error?
Like if it's forced download and install, that's what I consider it. Don't check the version, just install it. What I am providing in the URL.
Okay, so that means the force flag has the highest priority
Yes,
to
force
the
is
other
basic.
flags.
Yes, force is basically whatever is the URL download and install.
Okay, so whenever there's a force flag, basically any version check is skipped. We just install it.
Yep.
Okay.
By the way, I think we didn't agree on adding upgrade flag, right? I see.
That must have been a there is no dash upgrade flag. That was, I was just suggesting it. Do we need to? But Pritesh kind of responded saying that the install command can automatically do the upgrade. You're right.
Yeah. So no upgrade flag now. So I asked Feynman to share this command from Pritesh. There are 3 bullets. 1, 2, 3. I think that is the experience that Pritesh you expected, right? I also think this is reasonable, at least for our first iteration. Maybe we can all take a look at these 3 bullets to align the experience. So the first one is install a plugin is not already present. Then just copy the plugin to the design location. The second one, if there's the new version of existing plugin, this is a kind of upgrade, right? Then it is the copy the new version over the existing one. The third one is about a downgrade, right? By default, it will fail. But if user put a false flag, it can overwrite the existing one. Pritesh, is this your, I mean, this 3 items is your expected behavior?
Yep, that's correct. Yeah.
I think this is almost the same as the current design for notation install command, plugin install command. The only difference is that notation will check the existence of the plugin instead of the version, and the users can use -have force to force the installation, whatever the version is older or fresh than the existing one.
Yep, that's correct. Basically, we won't have upgrade command for timing, and we will rely on install command to do all the upgrades.
Yeah, and I think I don't have a very strong opinion on this part, since it is almost the same for users, right? But for upgrade, I think this is still a valid case that users who don't want to memory the plugin URL or the plugin location when they upgrade the plugin, since they already installed it. I think for plugin install, I think I'm fine with whatever the proposal from Pritesh or the current design.
Yeah, I think for the upgrade, the problem is currently we don't have a way to record that URL, and we don't have that in the metadata specification yet. And we also have some security concern just discussed. So I think for upgrade, I agree. We want to have this automatic upgrade, but currently we are not ready for that yet. Maybe we can do it later. So if we want to introduce upgrade for now, we have to ask a user to add this URL. Then it is the similar experience as installation. So there's no need to have this upgrade command.
Yeah, I will talk to Shui for the details about the security concern and further suggestions. So let's keep the existing behavior as we discussed for plugin install and uninstall. We can focus on that part first.
Maybe in
upgrade.
this meeting, yeah, sorry, we can align that for installation, for install and uninstall, we are clear, right? So I think if that part is clear, we can update the spec and we can start the implementation in parallel while we're discussing the upgrade automatically. This scenario, is that okay?
I think so. At least for first iteration, I think for plugin install and uninstall, those are clear and aligned. For upgrade, we still need further discussion.
Okay. Pritesh, any other thing you see for installation, uninstallation, install command or uninstall command?
There was something with URL. How will we distinguish between host file and URL? There was one somewhere.
Let me find that one. I think
Like opposite notation.
is this one?
Yes, I think, yeah.
Yeah, this is more from the implementation perspective, and I see Patrick has provided his answer on this question.
Oh, okay, so Helm does it this way. You check for local file first and then remote. Okay. Yeah, I will need to think about this. I'm not sure. Is this a popular pattern there in URL world that look for local file or then remote?
I think this is more tend to the implementation perspective. So Patrick, would you want to provide more?
I'm not very sure if it's popular. I learned from home. That's all I have.
Because I remember we had a similar discussion for sign OCI artifacts, right? Locally present OCI artifact, and we chose the different flag, if I remember correctly, or we are using the same pattern there.
Yes, originally the design of plugin install was there was a flag called source. But I think Ian Freeman doesn't really like the source flag, right? So
Yeah.
we decided we did some research and sort of find a way to remove the flag
This
by following home. Yeah.
That makes sense, but I remember that when we were doing an experimental feature to sign locally present OCI artifacts, like local OCI artifact, we had similar discussion that there is no good way to know whether customer is trying to sign the artifact present locally or on the remote. And I forgot what was the conclusion of that. I think Shiva has his hand raised.
Yes, for the OCI is that it's highly possible that the local file has a name as the same as the remote one. But in this case, I think Patch Design or Freeman designed this one just because it's rarely although it's possible to have a file name prefixed with HTTPS column //. So in that case, it's easier to distinguish whether the input is a remote URL or not. By the way, for Patrick, I think you should check the URL first instead of checking if there's a file on the file system first.
Any reason? Because I thought file system is in our trust boundary, right? But URL is not.
Yeah, but there's a confusion on the user side. So think about it. If there's really a file called HTTPS colon slash slash blah 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 slash blah blah blah, and it's possible because in Unix or some Unix file system they allow it. So you can have that kind of file name in here.
I see.
I see issue with both the patterns. First one, if we read the file first, there is a way where an adversary can create a local file and deny all the upgrades for the plugin because you are checking the local file. And if you do it other way around, if I know the plugin name, probably I can, if it follows the bad pattern, I can just set up a server and you will start calling my server and get started plugging from there. A corner case, but yes.
Such that's another issue that we want to avoid. First of all, if you are following this pattern like HTTP or HTTPS colon or other things, that's the general URL or URI, then we are following the IRC spec, then we need a registered scheme for the URL. File, yes, one. HTTP is also one, but OCI is not. Also, it's very hard to implement the full spec of the file because, for example, on Windows, it has a disk label before the path, and also it's not double slash, it's triple slash for file. I think so.
I think Shui's point is that this may vary on different operating system, right? The scheme,
I mean,
the URL scheme.
yes, that's one factor. The second factor is we need to fully comply with the RFC doc, and it might not be the same as you thought. For example, for file, it's not double slash, it's triple slash. I will give you an example there.
I remember we have been discussed about the URL pattern when we designing and talking about the OCI layout.
So Pritesh, do you have any suggestion on this?
Not really. I mean, unless you support an extra flag, I don't have any good suggestion here. But yeah, I do see issue with us interpreting here. Like if we try URL first, then we are making a remote call, and users might not be happy. Why are you making a remote call if we don't ask you? If we do localhost checking, then someone can like deny an upgrade for a plugin. So I think we have to take an event from user, whether it's remote or local.
So you suggest that we should let user explicitly specify whether it's a URI or a local path, right? That means we need to have a flags, two flags.
Yes, or we can go with what Sajay pointed. I don't know about this RFC, but yeah.
For Sajay's comment, I think we previously had a flag named source -- source to allow users manually specify where should the where is the location, where's the plugin files. But after the first round of discussion, we prefer allowing users to provide users the automation experience and let notation to recognize where the plugin files come from.
No, but how do you
Uh,
disambiguate between a local file and an HTTP?
I think we are following the patterns from Helm, and Shui mentioned that we can check the remote address first, then check the local file system.
Okay, I mean, as long as we're capturing this in the specification and we kind of say what's happening, I think the point is if we can document the behavior, it's okay.
Sorry to interrupt you. We are out of time. I think for the plugin spec, we have two things. We align that we first go with install, uninstall. We agree that's the experience. And for automatically upgrades, we will discuss that and put it in the next iteration. So it will not in 1.1. For whether we are using flag or not, we need, I think we need to have a further discussion, but we cannot do it today. We are already 2 minutes over time. So maybe Feynman, you can drive this discussion offline with Patrick, Shui, and Pridesh. Hopefully, we can align this spec as soon as possible. Then we will know the ETA date for implementation. That okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, thanks, folks. For the other two topics, maybe on Thursday, that community can have some discussions. Okay, we will do it next time. Thank you, folks. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.